Hi everyone, welcome to the energy report for the month of March. Usually I do these on Zoom and then I upload them to YouTube, but I am just not feeling Zoom today. I am feeling Instagram Live, so here I am. And I just looked into the astrology for the month of March this morning because I'm not an astrologer. It's not my wheelhouse. I'm not going to talk about the astrology, but I am going to mention that I've been feeling the intensity of these energies in the month of March for a few months now. And when I looked at what is happening astrologically, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a wild and crazy month. I described it to my husband that it feels to me like that point, like on a Saturday night, when the kids are really, really tired and they're like manic, they're crazy. It's a little bit intense where they're like super happy and super excited. They've had an amazing day. And then some tiny little thing happens and suddenly they're outraged and they're throwing a tantrum or they're having a meltdown and like, ah! And then they forget what was upsetting them and they're happy again. And then they remember that they were pissed off, but they don't remember what it was about anymore, but it doesn't matter. On principle, they're digging in and like returning to that feeling, and then they're happy again, and then they're like like they just fall asleep. It feels like that's what this month is going to be like. My prediction is that it's going to play out more or less on an individual level in our interpersonal relationships, more so than on a greater collective, like social level. It reminds me of the energy of July 2020 when all the Black Lives Matter stuff started to pop off and people were very, 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 very emotional. And yet it feels kind of like, rather than happening on a like the social communal scene where people are rioting in the streets and destroying businesses and whatever, you know, from a place of their toddler level rage. It's going to be people in their personal relationships that are like really, really feeling it. That's my prediction. But unlike the manic depressive swings of an extremely tired toddler, I feel like this month, for all its chaos, is going to be very productive. Like, we're really going to clarify some very important things, and there's no way to get that clarity other than to actually move through this shit. And I feel like I'm going to be right there along with all of you, feeling the feels, not super excited about it, but I also know that this is what we signed up for. Anyhow, as I said, I'm not an astrologer, so that's my little mini, my little take on the astrology, because I feel like I would be remiss to not comment on it at all in an energy report with a month like we're having. However, my energy reports come from a combination of the tarot deck and the Akashic field. So at the beginning of every year, if you don't know, I do a collective year ahead reading. It's a tarot and Akashic reading. It's extremely thorough. It's something like 25 cards. And I pull a card for every month and one for every quarter. And if you want to watch that and you haven't seen it already, it's on YouTube. My channel, Amy Belair. Anyway, the card for the month of March was the 10 of Pentacles. And this is following off of the card for February, which was the Ace of Pentacles. And I'll back up a little bit and say that to me, the distinguishing energy of 2023 that sets it apart from 2022 is that this feels like a very, very powerful manifestational year. So last year we quantum leaped on a consciousness expansion level. Like, I don't know about all of you, but I mean, last year was so beautiful, and I also feel like I was absolutely flattened to the ground. It was like information pouring through my channel all the time. I could barely keep up, barely integrate it. It was so much expansion, which went along with the theme of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. So it's not a big surprise. This year, I don't know what the themes are. I haven't even watched a year ahead anything about astrology. However, This year to me feels like it's a quantum leap in terms of the actualization of our manifestation abilities and our powers. So a lot of us have been manifesting for a long time, and we, have created some kind of something for ourselves in the online space, like wanting to teach others how to manifest too, because it's benefited our lives so much. And it's like, this is the year where a lot of people are going to figure it out who haven't really gotten it before, or maybe haven't even heard of it before this year, even though that's hard for some of us to imagine. They're just going to like pick it up, and it's like a 100th monkey effect kind of situation where enough of us understand the fundamentals of manifestation so that we can reproduce it reliably, even in a way that, creates totally astounding results. There are enough of us that are able to do that it's like now that is a much more accessible reality for many more people. And the more people figure it out and start to, like get in with this whole manifestation conscious creation thing, the easier it is for other new learners. It's just like the momentum builds. And honestly, I think what we're doing here is we are also this year, we are beginning to build, it's not a Neuralink. Like that would be the technological, transhumanist Elon Musk version of what I think we actually have the ability to do. And this is the year that we're actually going to do it. But it's like the telepathic network, but it's heart-centered. It's a heart-centered telepathy. There is also like a third eye level of telepathy, but it is anchored in the heart. So I think that's what is happening this year. And we're just going to be manifesting like in ways that blow our minds, and in ways that make it so that we can no longer deny that we are literally creating our own hologram. We are creating it straight up. And that means that we can also not play into victim shit at all. Like we can't. That whole paradigm falls apart when we realize like, oh, no matter what my circumstances are, I'm actually fucking magical. So powerful. I can create and manifest out of the raw materials of my consciousness and the energy that already exists here. I don't think there's anything, or I don't think there's very much that's more exciting. There are some things. Whenever somebody tells me I'm pregnant, I'm like, they're pregnant, I'm over the moon. So that's probably the thing I'm the most excited about in the world. But other than that, I think it's our manifestational, creational powers. So I also want to apologize in advance. All of a sudden I have a bit of a runny nose. I think I'm getting a cold. So sorry for my humanness. So the 10 of Pentacles is following the Ace of Pentacles from last month, which means last month in my energy report, I was talking about like, we are planting a seed and this seed is going to bear fruit rapidly, like in March. I don't mean a piddly little germination with one little baby leaf. I mean, it is going to explode into, I don't know, a berry bush, and there are berries, and they're ripe for the picking. Or it's going to explode into a rose bush, or, a symphony of morning glories, or whatever. It's going to bear fruit. So last month I was saying it's essential that we take our power seriously, even if we're operating on faith, even if we haven't demonstrated it to ourselves yet through the practice of manifestation, and we're just having to take other people's word on it. It's like we have to be aware of the seed that we're planting because it's going to bear fruit. And now here we are in March. It is going to bear fruit. And when I was sort of meditating this morning on what I wanted to say about this card, because, I always ramble for a long time, and I thought to myself, like, there's really not much to say other than, like, we're here. We just have to open up and receive. And it would be like the shortest Amy video ever that I've ever made in the history of time. And then I was like, no, that's boring. Say something else. So I was meditating on it. And I was thinking about these astrological energies for the month of March and how they kind of feel to me in advance, like at the very beginning of the month. And I was thinking about everything that I know about manifestation. And the message that wants to come through about these energies is that, again, it's like that manic energy that kids get, or like the night before Christmas. It's like that, you know, where you're just like, like, it's coming. It's so exciting. I can't sleep. Like, how could I possibly sleep? Santa is coming tonight. Or we're going to Disney World tomorrow, or whatever thing that we're excited about and looking forward to, you know? It's a little bit like that kind of feeling in March, especially when somebody has told you that your manifestations are going to come true, and yet your brain is like, you know how our mind does that thing where it wants to protect us from the disappointment of it not happening. And so it's like fighting you the whole way. Like, you know, wouldn't it be so nice if you could watch this video, or you watched last month's video and you were like, well, Amy says, because the tarot cards said that our manifestations are happening. They're coming to fruition this month. And the seed that I planted, it is going to explode into a whole new timeline, a whole new reality for me. How exciting. I'm just going to sit back and chill and, you know, like not stress about it and not worry about it and just let it happen. It would be really nice if we could do that, but that's not how it works really for any of us. I can't say that. I actually can't say that. It's not how it works for most of us. That is more accurate. At this point in our journey, myself included, I've gotten better at this. That's why I can recognize it right now at the beginning of the month. But when we know that something big that we have wanted for a long time is coming, there is a part of us that wants to self-sabotage to protect us from the disappointment of our hopes getting, like, you know, so high and then getting so dashed if/when it doesn't happen. And so our mind fights us the whole, like, the closer we get to the thing, the more our mind basically wants to fuck us over and torpedo the whole thing, because it's like, no, it's not happening, don't believe it. And it just, like, it's a self-protective mechanism, but it's very bizarre, because it's like the mind is like, don't aim for more, you could be disappointed, instead aim for less and be happy. Like, thanks, mind. It's a great solution, very inspired. And then when you throw in the energies of the month of March, so even if we were just having like a totally astrologically calm month, like nothing was really happening, no retrogrades, no big transits, like everybody's just cruising along in the right direction and chilling out and making harmonious aspects to each other, we're still going to have that experience where the mind, like, starts to panic that it's not going to happen, or what if it does happen? There's also that, like, what if it does happen? What is this going to mean? What is this going to mean for me? Especially if you planted a big seed, you know, you planted a seed that really changes the game for you. That is stressful to the nervous system and the mind too. So that would already be happening even in the calmest astrological month ever. And we're in the most eventful astrological month of this year. And it's very eventful. Very eventful. So, I just want to pause too before I proceed and say that I'm also not saying that every single intention that you encoded into the seed that you planted is literally going to come true in March. Like, for example, one of the intentions in my seed is I want to buy land. I want it to be in a specific location. I want it to be waterfront, forested acreage. And then I want to build a, like, big ass log cabin on that land. That's not going to happen this month. And it's fine. I know it's not going to happen this month, and that's okay. But there are other things encoded in my seed, and basically something is going to happen that is an absolutely irrefutable and very significant, tangible indication that, yep, this seed is good, and this, like on a rose bush, every single rose does not bloom right away. It's like the rose bush, produces a bloom, and then a little while later it produces another bloom, and then another one, and another one, and the first one kind of like has its moment, and it's gone. It's like that, okay? I don't want to set anybody up with crazy, unreasonable expectations. So when you combine that sort of self-sabotaging mental pattern that we have around manifestation with all of the shit that's coming up for us in March, it's actually not a surprise to me when I think about it. It's going to be a very rough ride. It's going to be a rough ride because I think, this is just my interpretation, as always, but I think the way it's going to feel, and the thing that we need to know about it, is that whenever you have planted a big seed, whenever you are calling something big in, when you are setting yourself up for a quantum leap, you're manifesting something big, whatever jargon we want to use, I like to call it switching timelines, or like up leveling within the ideal timeline we've already switched into at some point. But I really like seeing it in terms of timelines. It makes sense to me in that way. But regardless, whenever we're in that kind of process, we are required to basically dismantle aspects of our identity, our identity construct, and reassemble it before the thing comes in, so that we can actually hold the thing. That is our work. So that's why it would be really nice to just sit back, like go to Palm Springs, hang out by the pool, sip Mai Tais all day with our bestie, and take selfies and, post our amazing Instagram worthy life while we're waiting for our ultimate bomb-ass manifestations to come through. But that's not usually how it works, even for the most seasoned manifester. The reason the mind starts fucking with you is because the current identity construct that you are operating within can't handle like the potential that it could happen, but also it can't happen. It can't handle the potential that it couldn't happen, if that makes sense. So the current version of you is like, meaning when I say identity construct, I mean the way you perceive yourself and how that informs, the way you talk to yourself, the foods you eat, the shows you watch, the company you keep, the things you do with your time. Like identity, it's like at this point, it's all identity work. The crafting your list, the encoding your seed, all of that is the easy stuff. The identity work is the really, really challenging part. And when we're calling in something big, and all of the like cosmic, galactic, akashic energies are in support of the actual like fruiting of that big thing we're calling in, it also requires a deep demolition and excavation of like the identity construct we've been operating within right down into the foundation. So it's like demoing the house. That might play out on an external level, as in like things falling apart in your life, like losing a job, a relationship disintegrating. Like one friend shared with me that she just lost a sibling unexpectedly. And I also, like, I don't want to be insensitive and be like, that's just part of your manifestation, but just huge things on the external level, they play a part in the identity construct that we have. So it can play out externally in that sort of dramatic of a fashion, and it can also play out completely internally, like a completely internal demolition and reconstruction of your identity. But the part that I really want to highlight, like the demolition stuff is hard enough, but the part I really want to highlight is the excavation piece, where like the digger comes and claws everything out, and then you kind of have to look at the raw, like space that was left behind. And you also, kind of have to like retrieve the things that you want to carry forward from that, hopefully before the demolition and excavation occurred, but whatever. It might be a messy process this month. Almost certainly it will be a messy process this month. And that's the part that's hard. And I think we're all going to be feeling it, honestly. I think that we're going to feel a lot of like conflict with ourselves and within our interpersonal relationship dynamics, in our families, in our friendships, in our like coworker and like employer-employee kind of relationships. And I'm also not saying that that means every single relationship in your life is going to be tested. It's probably just going to be like some key ones that are the exact perfect ones to trigger the exact fucking thing that you need to see and process in order to upgrade your identity to be able to like receive and hold the thing that you are calling in. I like to use the analogy of like, I mean, so many of us sit around wishing that we could win the lottery, right? Like if only I would receive $1 million or something like that, some windfall, whatever amount, but generously huge amount, all of my problems would go away. But if somebody actually came and gave you like, a winning ticket, they were like, you know what, I won the lottery. Like I literally won the jackpot, something like 36 mil, and I'm good. I don't actually need that money. Here, I love you. I would like you to have it. If somebody did that, or let's say you won the lottery and you had not upgraded your identity construct to be able to hold that amount of money, what would happen? You would different people would respond to it differently. But for example, you would manifest a whole bunch of expenses. You would get in a car accident and have like huge hospital bills. You like somebody in your family would become sick and you would feel obligated to basically pay for their treatments. Or you would just give the money away to people. And you wouldn't want to look at the numbers because you're not ready for that much power. You're not ready for it. You're not ready. You would be in total denial. You would piss your way through it, whether with good intentions or bad intentions or whatever you spend it on, doesn't matter. However it happens, it would manifest in the exact way it needs to for you so that you would not have that money anymore because your identity construct is not primed for it. Your nervous system can't hold it. The concept you have of yourself can't accept that. So it would reject it and literally push it away. And so we have to upgrade our identity constructs, and that process is not pretty. It involves like being triggered to shit and being present with the triggers and moving through the triggers and like being willing to be triggered over and over and over and over and over, and almost like it's like you're working a Rubik's Cube. Like that there is a solution and you just got to keep working with it until you find it, like it finally clicks into place and you're like, oh, I get it. And it integrates and it lands and all of a sudden you are upgraded. I mean, that's what upgrades are. A lot of the time when we're talking about receiving upgrades at night, it's like a level of our consciousness just gets to bypass the annoying real life hard work of this, demolition, excavation, like exploring our triggers process. But we don't get to escape all of that. Sometimes we actually have to be present in it and do the work and assimilate it on a conscious level in order to receive that upgrade to the character that we are in this life. Like it's all a hologram. It's literally all a hologram. And the hologram can yield anything to you that is a match to what you are requesting. And you think that you're requesting it with your words, but this is what, Abraham Hicks, when she / non-binary, genderless, collective consciousness, when they're referring to your vibrational, like being a vibrational match, that's really what it's talking about. Is like, if you have not upgraded your concept of self to be able to like receive and hold this thing and like carry on with life, first, it's very unlikely that it's going to manifest into your world. And if it does, you're going to reject it very quickly. Very, very quickly. You will manifest whatever you need to do in order to get that shit back out of your field, because you are not primed to hold it. So that's the work that we're having to do this month. And it's going to feel like a bumpy ride, a very, very bumpy ride this month, I think, for all of us, as we navigate these intense energies. But what I hope to impart on you through this energy report is that all of this is happening to our benefit, even as it doesn't feel good. And if you can view it through the lens of basically like deconstructing your old, identity, excavating all the like shadowy blah in there, and cleaning it up so that you can reconstruct a new upgraded identity that matches the thing that you are calling in for yourself, then I think it'll be easier, not more comfortable, but easier to navigate the storms, because we will know what the storms, like why they're happening and what they're for. Let me see if there's anything else. I feel like there was one other thing that I was going to say. I can't remember. So I guess it's not actually important. I feel like it was, but I can't remember what it was. That's so frustrating. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm not going to keep you all here. Thank you for those of you who joined live. Hi, I'm sorry I didn't wave at you. I just knew that if I did that, I would totally get distracted, and then I would not be able to stay focused on what I'm trying to say. But thank you for being here. I hope that you have an amazing month. Let's lean on each other, honestly, to get through the intense energies of this month, because, yeah, I feel like it's going to be a lot. But there is a lot of growth available for us, and we were made for this. We can do it. We've got this. Oh, yeah, I remember what it was. Very quickly, I'm going to give a little anecdote. It's very personal, and I feel kind of vulnerable sharing it, but it is how I figured out how to be in this energy beyond, like whatever, going through the excavation process. This isn't about the energies of March, like the astrological energies. This is just about the energy of like being in that state, like when you're so excited because you're like, the thing is coming, and I feel jittery and I feel excited and I'm afraid it's not going to come and I'm going to try and self-sabotage and blah, blah, blah. So I knew William was coming when I was pregnant with Kieran. So he's 18 months old now, and Kieran is almost 5. So about 5 years ago, I knew that William was coming, and I really wanted him, and I really wanted him to be conceived in October so that he would be born close to Killian's birthday. I wanted him to be a Cancer, basically, is what I'm saying, Cancer sun sign, because Killian was born at the end of June, so I wanted a baby born roughly around the same time. And that's a lot of pressure to put, if anybody knows about the fertility journey, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself and your partner. And also, furthermore, Alex didn't want any other kids, and we weren't going to fight about it. Like, I wasn't, trying to, like, get him to concede. I just knew. I knew by then that this is between me and God. This is between, like, me and Alex's higher self. Like, this is all a soul agreement. I knew that this is a bigger thing. And so, I had done so much work to release my micromanaging, codependent, emotional clutches around needing it to be a specific way or even happen at all. Like, I did a lot of work. It took me a couple years to, like, talk to William when he was a spirit baby and just be like, I feel you. I know you're real, even if you're not here. And I love you so much and I want you. But you don't have to come for me to love you. Like, you are already real to me. And, like, I did all that work. But, of course, as we were approaching the month of October, this, like, pressure built up and this tension of, like, oh, my God, is it going to be another year where it comes and goes? And, like, I'm going to have to deal with all of that disappointment. And, my mind really started doing that self-sabotaging thing. And I was committed to not projecting onto Alex that he had any responsibility to like do this for me. You know what I mean? So like he and I didn't even have conversations about it. This was 100% internal work on my part. And anyway, so we hadn't talked about it at all. And I just completely surrendered to the universe. And I was like, God, I love you. William, I knew his name was William. William, I love you. And it's okay. It's okay if this doesn't happen, but I also, I really wanted to stay in the energy of the possibility that it would happen. And so this has really been a very successful little manifestation trick for me, a manifestation hack. I invented a spiritual lover, a spirit lover. It was an invention. It was not an entity, nothing like that. I just had to make it not Alex so that I wasn't putting all this pressure even subconsciously on Alex. So I invented this spirit lover. And, I would do it with my spirit lover. And I just believed that my spirit lover really wanted to have a baby with me. And I let that be enough. I put so much of my energy and emotion into it, not to get the manifestation, but to channel all of that tension I was feeling around having this really big desire that had really specific timing. I had to put that energy somewhere. And so that's where I put it. I just invented a spirit lover. And I was like, the spirit lover loves me so much. And the spirit lover totally wants to have a baby with me. And I got pregnant. It's just so, I still think about it. I'm I'm sparing you certain details because it's very, personal stuff. But I'm sure you get the gist. The hour before I got pregnant, the hour before the deed that happened that resulted in William's existence, there was no evidence at all whatsoever to suggest that this was going to happen. And instead of letting myself totally fucking spiral, and I was teetering on that spiral 100% of the time, but instead of letting myself spiral, I just channeled that energy into creating almost like a delusional escapist fantasy where my manifestation, greatest heart's desire comes true, and letting that be enough, letting the satisfaction be in that. And it worked. And that's not the first time it worked. That's how I knew how to use that. That's actually how I manifested Alex in my life. It's how I've manifested everything. So if you are in this month and you're it's is it going to come? Isn't it going to come? I'm freaking out. Try that, some version of that for yourself, where you are, rather than indulging in the spiral, you're just imagining that your reality has already happened, and you're just imagining it, even just to bring yourself peace right now, in this moment right now. And otherwise you're totally unattached. You're not doing it to manifest, but you're just I need to not spiral. And Amy said that this works. So give it a try. That's my manifestation hack. That's my energy report for the month of March. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. I love you more than words can say. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and like. And if this resonates with you, please feel free to share it with anybody who you think would benefit. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you are, and I'll catch you next month. Bye, everyone.